Welcome to today's Explainer, everyone. Today, we're taking an incredibly fascinating look at something that is literally staring us right in the face every single day, yet somehow it remains one of the most misunderstood aspects of our health. I'm talking about the sun. For years, we've been operating under a very specific, rigid set of assumptions about our relationship with sunlight. But recently, a totally surprising new wave of science has emerged that is challenging everything we thought we knew. As focused learners, you know how crucial it is to look at the data clearly, cutting through all the noise. So we're going to break down this massive scientific course correction step by step and look at what the evidence is actually telling us.
Okay, let's dive into this. For decades now, we've basically lived under a barrage of intense warnings. We've been repeatedly told about the absolute dangers of sun exposure, leading to what can really only be described as a complete obsession with sunscreen. And look, it was all driven by a very valid fear of skin cancer. But recently, we're seeing the emergence of a brand new scientific perspective. It's like the pendulum of science is finally swinging back to the center. It's telling us that our current, highly exaggerated fear might actually be a massive overcorrection. We're being asked to hit pause and really reevaluate this deeply ingrained phobia.
Which brings us to a pretty profound question. Is the sun really our enemy? Seriously, think about your own daily routine for a second. If you're like most people, you probably instinctively seek the shade, right? Or maybe you wouldn't even dream of stepping outside without a heavy layer of sunblock, looking almost like you're prepping for a spacewalk. We have so widely accepted this myth that the sun is just purely an antagonist to our health, but what if this dominant narrative is entirely incomplete? What if the very thing we are so desperately hiding from is something our bodies actually need? It's a fascinating thought, and it requires us to look past our conditioned behaviors to examine the new literature.
So this whole paradigm shift is actually being spearheaded by a genuinely eye-opening and honestly highly controversial new book. It's called In Defense of Sunshine by science writer Rowan Jacobsen. And the book is exactly what the title suggests. It's a direct, unapologetic challenge to the status quo. Jacobsen has basically stepped into the scientific arena to tell the medical community and the general public to stop this exaggerated fear. He's signaling a massive shift in how we fundamentally view our environment and our own biological needs.
Jacobsen structures his defense around three core arguments. First off, he argues that the sun's terrible reputation is just completely unjustified. It's been painted as this ultimate villain, which simply isn't scientifically accurate. Second, and this is absolutely vital for keeping an impartial view, he acknowledges that the evidence linking overexposure to skin cancer is real. He is definitely not denying the risks. However, he points out that looking solely at that risk is entirely one-sided. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is his third point. Human beings reap immense, profound health benefits from spending just a little regular time under the sun. We are talking about critical everyday physiological functions, things like synthesizing vitamin D, regulating our circadian rhythm so we can actually get a good night's sleep, and naturally boosting both our mood and our immune system. By focusing only on the risks of overexposure, we are completely blinding ourselves to these incredible biological rewards.
Let's see how this builds into an even more urgent issue, the actual dangers of sun deprivation. Because this is where the stakes get incredibly high. Jacobsen argues that by obsessively avoiding the sun, we aren't just missing out on a few scattered, nice-to-have benefits, we are actually causing ourselves severe health damage. Really think about the gravity of that for a second. The exact behavior we adopted to protect our health, complete sun avoidance, is actually a form of deprivation that carries its own severe negative consequences. We are biologically designed to interact with sunlight, and entirely removing that interaction, well, it harms us.
Journalist Gareth Thomson beautifully described Jacobsen's controversial book as, quote, as easy to digest as sunshine itself. And this brilliantly illustrates how this new science is being received. I absolutely love how that's phrased, because it instantly warms up the entire narrative. It tells us that this new scientific perspective isn't some dense, intimidating, unreadable medical text. Instead, it's intuitive. It just makes biological sense to us. It feels natural, because deep down, the idea that a little sunshine is good for us is a very accessible, illuminating truth that we've simply suppressed out of fear.
So, how do we safely bring the pendulum back to the center and actually apply this new understanding to our lives? Step 1. We must always acknowledge the real risks of overexposure. The fear of skin cancer didn't just come out of nowhere, and sunburns are objectively bad for you. Step 2. We must equally recognize the severe harms of sun deprivation that Jacobsen points out. We absolutely cannot ignore the damage caused by hiding indoors all day long. which naturally leads us right into step 3, finding the healthy middle ground. This framework allows us to respect the immense power of the sun without living in absolute terror of it.
So the crucial point is simple: moderation. Moderation is literally the key to absolutely everything in this equation. The source material makes a very specific, actionable recommendation here, and that is to get moderate morning sun. It's all about not depriving yourself of those immense biological benefits, but doing so smartly. Getting a little bit of regular, moderate sun exposure, specifically in the morning when the ultraviolet rays are way less intense, is the optimal way to unlock these health benefits while safely navigating the risks. It's just a simple, structured adjustment to our daily habits.
As we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a question to really reflect on. When do you prefer sun exposure? I want you to genuinely think about your own daily routines right now. Are you someone who completely avoids the sun at all costs, or do you actively seek out that moderate morning light? How does this new scientific perspective challenge the habits that you've built up over the years? Drop your thoughts, your routines, and your reactions to Jacobsen's arguments down in the comments. Let's keep this fascinating conversation going, and I will see you in the next analysis.